A brand new Tesla just leaked that might just change everything. There has been a lot of rumors, a lot of speculation, and a lot of pent-up demand from many people for Tesla to make a cheaper version of the Model Y. The standard range version of the Model Y was great, but it was on menu, it was off menu, it didn't have enough range apparently, and now it's no longer available, but that might not be the case any longer. Tesla might have learned from their mistakes and are finally going to bring a cheaper Model Y very, very soon. A huge leak just gave us a very crucial piece of info, so let me tell you everything we know right now. So my apologies, I usually have my videos a little bit better thought out and a little bit better planned, but this is sort of breaking news that I wanted to get out to you guys. Let me just sort of cut right to the chase. We have a new leak, a big leak on a new Model Y variant. According to Inside EVs, this info comes from the EPA themselves, at least a part of their website, that shows off a new version of the Tesla Model Y. This is not the long-range version, it's not the performance version, it's not even the rear-wheel drive version, because that's technically still listed. This is just a new Model Y all-wheel drive, which raises way more questions than it does give us answers. So a couple of crucial pieces of info here right off the bat. One is range. According to this EPA listing, this new model would have 279 miles of range, which is not as long as the long range or performance, but sits nicely above what the rear-wheel drive Model Y offered. That model, I think, was around 244-ish miles of range, and that was sort of criticized, especially by Elon himself. He said that just didn't have enough range. It didn't sort of live up to Tesla's expectations or their standards, which is one of the reasons, publicly at least, why Tesla seemingly sort of pushed that model off to the side. It was, like I said, off menu, on menu, it was here, it was there, and now at least in North America, you can no longer get that version directly from Tesla, which makes things a little complicated, and where this would sort of nicely fill in with, about 40-ish more miles of range, which does make a pretty big difference when you're talking about electric vehicles that are solely being run off of, battery packs. The other interesting piece of this is the name. I mentioned before there was the Model Y rear-wheel drive, there's the Model 3 rear-wheel drive, formerly known as the Stand Range Plus, there's the long-range and performance variants. So what does this all-wheel drive model mean? Well, some speculation seems to suggest that maybe this is a lower range dual motor Model Y that maybe is using different battery technology, maybe LFP battery like the standard range Model 3 or the rear-wheel drive Model 3, and that Tesla is either has a different battery in here or maybe a software locking the battery, but is using dual motors instead of one motor. That was one of the big issues with, or I guess one of the issues with the rear-wheel drive Model Y was that one motor just didn't supply enough, and maybe dual motors is sort of the fix and the answer to everything. And I will say here, as a Standard Range Plus owner myself, someone who owned a 2019 Model 3 Standard Range Plus, I really like that car. And there has been a lot of criticism for those models from Tesla. A lot of people think that they're just aren't providing enough value, that you're not getting enough range, you're not getting the premium experience. But I gotta say, it's one heck of an experience. You're getting the exact same hardware mostly in the car. You're getting the same super premium leather interior. You're getting the same software experience. You're getting the same screen, even the newer processors these days. Everything you'd get in a higher priced Model 3 or Model Y in this case, you'd be getting here with the exception of sort of the sound system being one of them. You're not getting the subwoofer, the amplifiers. You're not getting the sort of on-par audio experience. You're also not getting the rear heated seats at least. So I guess actually they changed that. So you are getting rear-heated seats. The biggest issue, obviously, besides range is the audio system. That's one of the biggest issues I've heard from many people. But suffice it to say, the rear-wheel drive offering, at least in the Model 3, is getting better and better. There is very little reason to jump to the long range just for the audio system alone for most people, unless you needed that extra range or that extra speed. The rear-wheel drive Model 3 is a heck of a value, especially with, what is it, like 260-ish miles of range, 270 miles of range for $44,000. It's a really good deal. The other reason I think this makes so much sense is simply because of supply, demand, and price. Right now, the long-range Model Y, I think, is like one of the most popular offerings Tesla has right now. Even before all this crazy stuff happened with gas prices, you were still looking at months, if not, almost a year out for some Tesla models with the Model Y long-range there included. And as the delivery date slips, demand goes up, and even the price just went up $1,000 just as of a couple of days ago. There's a lot of demand for this car. And I think that Tesla maybe could offer a cheaper alternative that maybe would be sort of a win-win for everybody. Maybe it would put less demand on that long-range version that is more expensive, but also might be a little bit more costly and time-intensive to produce, when they could have a standard range version that not only didn't have maybe the supply constraints as the long-range version, but it was also a lot more tangible and doable for most people. If they knocked, $5,000-$10,000 off the price of this thing, it'd make a big difference. I think most people are willing to still buy one and get a little less range if they could save some money and maybe get the car a little sooner than later in the process. It sounds a little crazy, but maybe that would work out. And as to the specifics on this car, what it could have, what it couldn't have, we really don't know. But if we were to look at the rear-wheel drive Model 3, we can do some sort of deducing for ourselves and figure out exactly what this model would have. So if that's any baseline to go off of, I would assume this, all-wheel drive Model Y would have, a really good premium interior. It'd probably have the exact same interior. You'd get the AMD Ryzen processor, you'd get the heated wipers, you'd get the new lithium-ion battery, you'd get all the new stuff in there, including double-pane windows as well. But really the only difference would be sort of range and maybe the audio system. I think, correct me if I'm wrong down below, I don't remember with the standard range rear-wheel drive Model Y if they were doing the same thing with the Model 3 where you were getting a partial premium audio system and not the full premium. I don't remember if that was just a Model 3 thing or a Model Y thing, but I was assume that if they follow the case of the Model 3, you'd get a sort of less than premium audio system in there. But besides that, you're basically getting the exact same car, same color options, same wheel options as well as the long range, but you get to save yourself a few $1,000s in the process. And of course, the big question here, the one that really makes all the difference in the world, is price. What could this lower range Model Y offer? It would still be dual motors, so that would be something we haven't seen before. And again, we don't know if it's going to be an LFP battery or if they're going to use maybe the 4680 battery packs, or maybe this is a software locked long range, with the standard battery. We don't know how that would work out. Obviously as a result of that, what would pricing be? If they follow the standard range Model 3 versus the long range, that's about a $7,000-ish price difference. So that would look something like what, $52-ish, $53-ish $1,000 for a standard range Model Y, as opposed to the long range version. And that is if they follow what we have with the Model 3. Obviously, there's a lot more factors here. The cars are different to manufacture, stuff like that. But maybe with Giga Texas coming online here in the US and they're sort of being able to streamline the production of the Model Y, maybe it's not too crazy to think that there's more efficiencies there and they could have a price point similar where you could get a, standard Model Y a lot closer to $50,000 than $60,000, which is now basically the current price of the base long-range Model Y as of right now. And I've seen a lot of speculation on how and where this is going to be built. Maybe this is something in Giga Texas. Maybe this is something that comes sooner than later. Like I mentioned, this is still relatively breaking news, so I don't know what else to say besides the fact that maybe a new standard range Model Y might be coming very soon. I've seen a lot of your guys' comments. I was even one who was interested in a standard range Model Y. And if you're looking for a Model Y and all the creature comforts of that car, but you don't need the range of the long range version, this just might be the perfect solution for many of you guys out there watching this video. And hopefully we see this car soon. Again, with this EPA leak here, we don't know what else there is to go off of there. That's the only info we have right now. But as this story develops and as we hear more, I will let you guys know. But I just thought it was worth a little video here to tell you guys the latest, that if you're in the market for a Model Y and you're maybe sort of going through the different stages of your research process with Teslas and other manufacturers, maybe we see a standard range Model Y sooner than later sometime this year. No promises. I've got no other info, but that's what we know as of right now. So what are your thoughts on this, guys? Again, I apologize. It's a little bit more of a sort of put together video here. I'm sort of running as everything is live here and just wanted to do something here for you guys and get your thoughts. What are your thoughts on the standard range Model Y? Do you think it makes sense? Do you think it not makes sense? What battery tech could you see inside? And what would you be willing to sacrifice in a standard range Model Y in order to, I guess, save some money besides just sacrificing range? Would you give up some of the audio system stuff? Would you give up some of the creature comforts of heated steering wheel, heated seats? Let me know your thoughts to that down below. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I'm Robert Rosenfeld, and I'll see you all in the next one.